And these techniques can help us sound more polite, can make us sound less direct, and maybe it can make the discussion, you know, easier or more civilized, right? So this way, even if you have a different opinion from your parents or from your friends, you don't have to kill each other, right? You can just you can disagree peacefully. So this is the idea. So we did some of these, we used some of these expressions and techniques in exercise number 5, if you remember. So we changed sentences which were too direct. We made them a little bit indirect. This was the idea. So we made the sentences, you know, softer, gentler. This was the whole point. So that's what we did, and that's what we practiced in our last lesson. Okay. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Welcome back, Najat. So we did this. And what else did we do? Can quite at times, they're very unhealthy. All right. So let me show you a few examples. Like number 5, for example. Here, the sentence says, they watch a lot of English. They watch a lot of, they watch a lot of TV. So this was the sentence. And we have these words to make it sound softer. So we can say, on the whole, they tend to watch quite a lot of TV. So when you say it this way, you're being general. You're not talking about a certain group. Do you get the idea? Or for example, number 7, they're selfish. Selfish is a strong adjective. It's a strong word. So if you say it to someone, if you're talking about kids in your class, let's say if you're a teacher and you have children in the classroom, and if you say they're selfish, you know, this is a bit too strong. So you can make it softer by saying, some of them can be rather selfish at times. Do you get the idea? You know, you're making it. عندنا حاجة مشابهة ندير فيها بالعربي ولا ما عندناش احنا اللقطة هذه؟ I think we do this. على الأقل في اللهجة العامية نديروا فيها. يعني مثلا بدل ما تقول هم أنانيين، يعني تقدر تلطفها شوية. والله مرات في منهم، في بعض الصغار تحس فيهم شوية أنانية. هو نفس الشيء تقول فيه، غير it's the how you say it. النقطة هي نفسها، لكن فيها نوع من بالإنجليزي يقولوا sugar coating. I don't know if you know this expression. sugar coating اللي هي أن نعرفش كيف نترجمها sugar coating. So sugar coating is like making something sound better than it is. Do you get the idea? To sugarcoat it, make it sweeter. هذا القصد يعني. Anyways, هذا آخر موضوع ناقشناه. This is the last thing we finished. Okay, so we have a few examples here. It says here, think of reasons why you tend to agree or disagree with these sentences. Decide how you can soften your opinions. Okay, so this question is in 2 parts, right? So the first part of the question is, first of all, do you agree or do you disagree? Okay, so whether you agree or disagree, it doesn't really matter, but you have to soften your opinion. So for example, let's say number 1, men watch too much sport. Alaikum salam.
Alaikum salam. Alaikum salam.
How are you today?
Hi, we're fine. How about you?
Fine, alhamdulillah.
Okay, good. So we're doing a quick revision here about how to use phrases and how to use some expressions to make your opinion sound softer. gentler. So let's say number one, men watch too much sport. So let's say, for example, I actually agree with this. I think it's true. I think men watch too much sport. Now, if I say it like this, it's okay. It's not bad or anything, but I can make it a little softer, right? So I can say something like, خلنا نرجع للbox. Let's go back to our box. So I can choose any of these expressions to make it softer. So I can say, perhaps some men can watch too much sports. ممكن هذه الكلمة تمشي جالبة نغيرها.
Maybe general speaking.
Good
maybe.
one. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Can you try it? Generally speaking,
Most men are watch too much sport.
most men
Are watch too much.
Yeah, but we can't use are with watch. So we can say most men
watch
a lot of sport. ممكن حتى نقدر نخففها a lot. خلينا نشوف وش نعني. Too much sport. Too much. Too much is too strong. خلينا حتى نطفاها. So you can say most men, generally speaking, most men watch
too much sport.
Too much sport. A bit too much sport. نزيدوها a bit. So you can say most men watch a bit too much sports. You know, ومش هذاك الفرق الكبير لكن we've made it as soft as we can. هي القصة كلها. So let's write this one. Let's write your answers, Anna. So we can say, generally speaking, most men watch a bit too much sports. This is a good example. All right, now let me give you a minute first to read all of them and think a little bit about them. And if you want, you can always look at the examples here at the top. If you want some phrases to use to help you, هم الموجودات هنا كلهم. You can use some of them. اللي هم الموجودات بين الأقواس. So you can use these if you want. All right. And if you still want to check the table above, just let me know and I can take you here if you need to check something, okay? So take a few minutes. Think a little bit about these sentences in number 6. Think about them and try to use some phrases and expressions to make them softer, okay? So take some time.
All the sentences or just to choose one or two?
No, all of them. لكن مش كلكم بتديروا all of them يعني. We'll check. You can answer some of them. Maybe Malak can do a few others. Hajar also. Okay.
Okay.
And if you're ready, just let me know and we can check. Okay, let's see some of your answers. Now, Hajar, tell us about number 2. What do you think? Men are better at sport than women.
Okay.
How can you make this gentler? Because this is a sentence that feminists wouldn't like to listen to hear. So you need to make it sound, you know, softer.
We can say some of the men
Okay.
can be better at sport rather than women.
Okay. Maybe rather is a little hard to use with. Okay, let me take you to the phrases here. So usually rather, you need to use it after the verb if you want to use rather. But I think you need a verb. You can't use verb to be, maybe. So maybe we need something else.
Or we can use perhaps some of men.
Okay. Or we can say some men, perhaps some men.
Some men. Some men can be. Yes,
can be
a bit better.
Right, that's very good. A bit better.
At sport than women.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good way to soften it up. So some men can be a bit better at sport than women. So you're trying to minimize the difference between them. Not bad. It's a good one. Okay, that's good. Malak, what do you think? Number 3, can you make it a little softer here?
Okay. Some of teenagers can be not some of teenagers.
You can say some teenagers.
Some of them, yes, some of teenagers are not very lazy and sleep too much.
You can use the opposite of lazy.
Perhaps some of teenagers a bit lazy and sleep too much.
Okay, but remember there was something we did in our last lesson. We used, instead of saying stupid, we said not very sensible. Do you remember that? Instead of saying lazy, we can say not very...
very lazy.
No, the opposite of lazy.
Not active, maybe.
Yes. Do you get the idea? يعني حتى الادجective نفسه تقدر تقلبيه. So you can say, let me write it. Of course, there's more than one way to do it. This is just, I'm just going to show you an example.
What about sleep?
Sleep. Sleep is a verb, so we can't really do a lot about it. But look at this example. So you can say perhaps
maybe doesn't sleep too much.
Some teenagers aren't very active and tend to sleep a bit too much.
Yeah.
Do you see this? So you can use tend to minimize verbs, and you can use with adjectives, you can just use the opposite and say not very. Do you get the idea? You can do it in another way. Instead of saying perhaps, you can say on the whole. You can start with on the whole. Many teenagers aren't active, or are rather many. Let's not use the opposite. Many teenagers are rather lazy and sleep quite a lot. مثلا بدل too much نقلبها a lot. Sleep quite a lot. Rather lazy and sleep quite a lot. لذلك قوية شوية هذه rather lazy. قاعدة فيها هزيبة شوية. But it's grammatically correct. So the idea here, you can play around with the sentences, you know. على فكرة الاكسرسايز هذا نمبر 6 يعتبر نوع من أنواع البارافريزنج. فيه مهارات اللي هي إعادة صياغة. فدرج في نوع من الصعوبة يعني. If you have to change a few things, it can be a little bit annoying. في حاجات تركب في حاجات ما تركبش. Okay, can you try number 4, Malak? Try with number 4. Maybe this one is a bit easier.
Perhaps some of healthy food, fast food is perhaps some of fast food a bit bad for your health.
Okay. So we can make a few changes. So we can say perhaps some fast food, perhaps some, we can't use some of, by the way. And unless you, إلا لو عندك اللي هو objective pronoun. Some of them طبعا إلا لو كنت تتكلمي على نفس الشيء يعني مرة ثانية. بس هنا النقطة اللي أول مرة some fast food.
Yes.
You can't use some of. Yeah. Okay. Some fast foods. What did you say?
Is some fast food is a bit bad. Bad, yes, for your health.
Tamam. But this bad, can you do it in another way? Can you use
not good?
Okay, can we say الفكرة نبغى أعطي الopposite وإنفي الopposite.
It's not good. A bit.
Not very good.
Not very good. Without a bit.
Without a bit. لأنك أنت تعطيتي الجود ونفتها. زي لما درنا be lazy و not very active. عرفتي تقدريها اللقطات.
Or we can say, generally speaking, fast food is not very good for your health.
That's, I think, even better. Generally speaking, fast food is not very good. Not very good for your health. Yes, Sana?
Can use in the whole. Most fast food is not very healthy.
Correct. On the whole, most fast
food is not very healthy.
Yeah, not very healthy.
Not very healthy. Yeah.
Right. This is actually quite good. Most fast food is not very healthy. You know, it sounds a little better than just saying bad. All right, what about number 5? Let's go to Sana. What do you think? Number 5.
Okay. Generally speaking, most people don't I don't know a bit care enough about the environment.
Okay, so I have a little. How can we?
I don't about a bit care. This is or quite care maybe.
Okay, let me put a line here and let's see. Let's see who's going to get a chocolate emoji. So it says here, people don't care enough. So I want someone to change this, don't care enough, نبغاها بنفس الكيفية اللي درنا فيها، نفس اللقطة اللي درناها not very healthy. بدل ما قلنا bad قلنا not very healthy، وبدل ما قلنا bad قلنا not very good. حتى هي درناها not very good. نبغى حاجة على نفس الصعيد يعني. not very good, not very healthy. وأيضا اللقطة اللي درناها في وينها active aren't very active. بدل ما قلنا lazy قلنا aren't very active. فنبي نفس الشيء ندار هنا ل don't care enough. اقلبها للopposite واعطوني negative.
Can
Okay.
you use quite enough?
Don't care quite enough, you mean? Actually you can. انت لطفتها درجة توا صح، ماشية في الطريق الصحيح. لكن أكبر تلطيفة لو تقلبها كلها، تقلبها زي ما درنا البدل بعد، زي ما دارت ملاك وسناء لما داروا not very good بدل bad، ولما قالت سناء not very healthy. هذه good example.
But care, what can we do about care? What's the opposite of care?
That's you can't with care you can't do anything about it. حتقول زي ما هي، لكن اللي بنغير فيهم اللي هي don't وال enough هو اللي بيصير فيهم التغيير.
Maybe perhaps some people care a bit care.
You're getting close. قربتي شوي انت. Care a bit
about the environment.
تمام.
Some people perhaps care a bit.
تمام، بس care a bit هذه تعتبر حاجة كويسة. عرفتي يعني احنا ماذا بينا يا ريت كان كل الناس care a bit. احنا نبي نقولوا كأنهم
people.
Okay, I'll do it in Arabic. بعض الناس يكترثوا بشكل صغير، صغير هلبة للenvironment. كتيراتهم صغير.
Okay, we can use rather. Some of people can care. No. Rather.
Okay, we don't. You're gonna need to use to. Adverb is to, and we don't have don't, and we don't have enough. So we're gonna remove don't. We're gonna remove enough. You're gonna use to, but you need to use another adjective. So you can say perhaps.
Difficult.
Too little.
Can't use don't.
Okay.
Too little care.
Too little هي اللي نبغاها صح، انك غرت بها شوية. So you can say generally speaking ولا on the whole ولا perhaps some people
care too little.
That's it.
Care a little.
Care too little. You can say many people. You can say لا مش many people. You can say not very.
On the whole.
On the whole ماشي حالها. On the whole. On the whole, people care too little about the environment مثلا. Okay, دي the idea. هو رغم انه لو كمان ما فيش فرق بين care too little ولا don't care enough. دي the idea. لكن الفكرة ان البدء بكلمة negative don't care نبدلها، بدل ما نقولوا don't care نقولوا care too little. هما care غير not enough. هي دي الفكرة. بدل ما نقولوا bad نقولوا not very healthy. بدل ما نقولوا lazy نقولوا not very active. وهذه لو تلاحظوا درناها في أعطوها لكم كملاحظة في الدرس اللي فات لما هنا. And this part, let me show it to you. Do you remember these two examples? Here. That stupid behavior, stupid قلبناها أعطينا الopposite متاعها. الopposite متاعها اللي هو sensible وبعدين درنا negative للopposite. Not very sensible. في الحقيقة الاثنين نفس المعنى. But the second one, of course, is more polite. It's softer. يعني بدل ما زي اللي احنا نقول ما ماتش هو غير قلت له غير العكس ما انقتلش مات بس هي ناتج واحد. Anyways, this is the idea. So I think we owe Hajar a chocolate. You owe her, I don't. So Malak and Sana and also Najat.
Okay.
You owe her a chocolate.
Where do you live, Hajar?
In my home.
Okay, I know you live in your home, but where exactly?
Yeah, we need to make an order on Amazon so you can receive it. You receive it.
No, not from Amazon. Where Amazon? Even from Muzat or some place here in Libya, in Tripoli.
Yeah, maybe somewhere close. Yes. Okay, the last one, we have number 6. Students always cheat in exams. I think maybe this one is not too hard. Okay, so now you can try. Let's do more than one. هي آخر واحدة خلينا نديروا فيها أكثر من مثال. So okay, let's see your example, Sana. Because you remember with these exercises, because they are paraphrasing exercises, this means you can do them in more than one way. As long as it's grammatically correct, I think it's okay. Okay, so how would you do it, Sana? How would you make this softer?
Okay. I will change always by usually, maybe. It's better, I think. عادة, not always.
Okay, this is a good start, okay. Yeah, because always is too strong. Okay.
Some of students usually cheat in the exam.
Okay, so some students usually cheat in exams. It's okay, but I think we can make it a little better.
Okay.
And take a look at the box above. And in one of the sentences, we used there's an expression we used for verbs.
Can I try?
Okay, you can try.
Some of students tend to cheat in exams.
This is not bad, but you can still make it softer.
Or some students can cheat.
Yes.
Rather cheat in exam. Rather cheat in exams at times.
Students can cheat quite a bit. Quite a bit in exams. Some students can cheat quite a bit in exams, or some students tend to cheat rather ما تمشيش هنا. لا ما تمشيش. كويسة. We tend to cheat quite a bit. استعملناها تحت. Can you say it again? Your example, Hajar. Some students tend to cheat.
Tend to cheat the exam.
In exams.
In exams.
In exams, quite a bit. In exams. نقدر نقلبها يعني. In exams, quite a bit. Quite a bit. Some students tend to cheat exams quite a bit.
Not very often we can use it.
Students not very often cheating. You can say, yeah, generally speaking. Okay. Can you do the whole thing, Hajar? Let's use another start better than some students.
Okay. Generally speaking,
yeah.
Generally speaking, you use students first.
Yeah, you can use students.
Students. What I said? I forget. I forget.
You said not very often.
Not very often cheat in exams.
Students not very students not very often cheat in exams. Generally speaking, students don't cheat very often. That's in the rule in a present simple.
Yeah.
Don't cheat very often. Yeah, it's a nice way of using the opposite of always and the negative. So generally speaking, students don't cheat very often.
Very often in exams.
In the exam.
Yeah, in exams. Yes, this is also acceptable. Students don't cheat very often. رغم ان احنا غيرنا المعنى ما عادش نفس المعنى. Some students cheat quite a bit. يعني هو صح لكن هنا رأي الثاني من نوصل له ان الجملة الأخيرة تعتبر الشخص هنا disagree مع statement. دي the idea. يعني في فرق بين الأولاد الزوز يقولوا أن في الطلبة بصفة عامة يغشوا. اوكي لطفناها بس احنا لكن الشخص موافق ان هم غشاشين. في المثال الثاني الشخص غير موافق. الشخص يقول ان هم راهو ما يغشوش هذا. But it's soft, it's good, and it's an opinion, but it's not the same. It doesn't agree in meaning. ايوه انت في الجبهه المعاكسه، انت في الجبهه المؤمنه بان الطلبه ما يغشوش، وهذا طبعا غير صحيح. الطلبه ما يغشوا. All right, so this is the idea. يعني اعتبروه exercise في paraphrasing اكتب لنا أي شيء تاني. لكن الغرض منه اللي هو making your opinions, your statements a little softer. This is the idea. All right, so let's talk about something kind of completely different. So here we're going to discuss a little bit the differences between these three vowel sounds. Okay, so these three vowel sounds, even though all of them are spelled in the same way, they're actually pronounced quite differently. So before we listen to them, I'd like to see how we pronounce them. So Sana, would you volunteer and read all of these words and see?
Okay. Organize, morning, divorced.
Okay. Second group.
Forget, opportunity.
Okay.
Stubborn.
Right.
Worse, word, workaholic.
Okay, so do you feel that the sounds are the same or do you feel they're different?
I think different.
They're different.
Yeah.
So yeah, all of them are different. Now we want to see how different or what's the common sound in each group. So we want to see this. So I'm going to play it. But after that, good question. Okay, so first of all, let's listen first. Let's listen to the difference and then we can answer part B because it's a good question, I think. So CD1 part 14. Let's go to CD1 part 14. Okay, intermediate audio, CD 1.40.
Organized. Morning. Divorced.
2.
Forget. Opportunity. Stubborn.
3.
Worse. World. Workaholic.
Okay. Do you see the difference?
Yes.
The last group is more like turkey, burger, worse, work, where. Of course, number 2 is the schwa. Everybody knows the schwa. Forget, opportunity, and stubborn. And the first one is the aw, organized, morning, divorced. It's an aw sound. Okay, now the next part of the question, it asks, how do we say the letters OR when this syllable is stressed, when this is... Okay, so this is the question. The first part is, when is this syllable stressed? So here in 1, 2, 3, which of them are stressed? What do you think? Which group is stressed and which group is not stressed?
The first group is stressed.
Correct. You're right. The first group, the OR, is stressed. You're right. And the second one?
The second one doesn't stress.
Yes.
Forget.
Because we never stress the schwas.
Stress, yeah.
No stress. Okay, so we answered the 2 parts of the question. Now the last question is, what about the pronunciation? When is this? When is it syllable? So yeah, if we have the OR after W, how does it sound? Does it sound like the first 2 or does it sound different?
No, it's different. It's like a
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah, it's a kind of open. Worse, world, work. It's a turkey, burger. What else? أنا مجموعة كلمات فيهم But yeah, it changes after the W. It becomes an It's not like the first 2. All right, so that's true. Now, I want you to guess in this box, in the bottom box here, in part 2, exercise 2. So I want you to guess these words. Do they belong to group 1, 2, or 3? What do you think? So this word is 2. What about this word? Is it 1, 2, or 3? What do you think, Sana?
So, I don't.
And the groups are here. These are the 3 groups. Which group does it belong to? Does it belong to group 1, 2, or 3? What do you think? Oops.
All of this, the word, which group?
Yeah, each one, we want to know where does each one belong to?
For 3.
Okay, so you think this is group 3? Let's write 3. Next word?
Enormous.
Normal. No.
1, I think 1.
Okay, next one?
1, I think
1.
Do we say information or do we say information?
Information.
Formation.
And maybe 2.
Number 2.
2.
If it's not stressed, this means it's 2. If it's stressed, it means it's 1.
Snoring, I think 2. Not stress.
Do we say snoring or do we say snoring?
Snoring. I think
Mhm.
number 1.
Mm,
Yes.
yeah, maybe. This one, worth.
3.
Okay. This one,
Gorilla.
it's actually pronounced gorilla. Gorilla.
Gorilla. Yeah, it's like forget.
It's like forget, correct?
Yeah.
Number 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think like another gorilla 2.
Are you sure? Do we say gorgeous? Do we say gorgeous or do we say gorgeous?
Gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
So there's stress, right?
Yes, number 1.
So maybe gorgeous is like morning, like organized. It's the same. Or this one, I think you can tell it's quite easy. What's this?
Yes, I think 2.
Do we say bring?
Boring.
Do you say bring?
Boring.
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 So what is it?
Morning.
1.
Morning. Morning.
1.
Correct.
Motorbike.
So is it motorbike or is it motorbike?
Motorbike.
Number 2.
Motorbike.
Number 2.
Yeah, okay. This one?
Homework.
Number
Homework.
3.
Yeah, because
Work.
it has the W, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's number 2.
Do we say
Unfortunate.
unfortunately or do we say unfortunately? Is there a stress or no stress on the OR?
Stress, I think number 2. Number 1.
Yeah, because it sounds like na-na-na-ni, unfortunately. So there is a no. The stress is on the second syllable, right? Unfortunately. This word?
It's number 1.
Right. And this one?
Number 1.
Mirror.
Do we say mirror or do we say mirror?
Mirror.
Mirror.
Number 2.
Number 1.
One?
Mirror.
What do you think,
I
Malak?
think-
Is it stressed? Do we say mirror or mirror?
Mirror.
If we say mirror, it means it's not stressed. If you say mirror, you stress the first syllable, right?
Yes, number 2.
Mirror.
Not
So maybe this means number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's check them. Let's see where the sounds are.
41. 1.
Or. Enormous. Snoring. Gorgeous. Boring. Unfortunately. Uniform.
2.
Correct. Information. Gorilla. Motorbike. Mirror.
3.
Worst. Worth. Homework.
Right, nice. So all of them are correct. That's great. Okay, so before we continue, let's have a quick prayer break. Quick prayer break, and then we can check the rest of them, okay?
Inshallah.
Okay.
All right, so see you in a bit.
See you.
Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello. Who's back?
Yes.
Hello.
Okay, so everyone's back. Good. Okay, so okay, yes. So we talked about the pronunciation. So okay, so I think we can move on to our next exercise. Where is it? Okay, number 3. So now let's read these sentences. Let's take turns and try to keep in mind the 3 different ways. Excuse me, the 3 different ways we used to pronounce the OR. So if it's stressed and there is no W, it will sound like O. Organized, morning, boring, divorced, uniform, unfortunately. So this is how it sounds. If it's unstressed, then this means it's an schwa sound. It's an it won't be stressed. Or if it's after W, you will have the w sound, the kind of sound. Worse, world, workaholic, and so on. Okay, so Sana, you can do number 1. Can you read number 1 for us?
Okay. Unfortunately, it wasn't the correct information.
All right, nice. Okay. Number 2, Malak, can you do number 2?
Okay. The enormous, stubborn gorilla is still snoring.
Okay, can you repeat this one?
The enormous.
Right. Can you stress
Enormous, yeah.
Yeah, enormous. So you need
Enormous.
to stress the OR. What about this one?
Stubborn.
No, actually this one is
Stubborn. Stubborn.
no, make it shorter. This one is a schwa.
Yeah. Stubborn.
No, shorter,
Stubborn.
short. Stubborn.
Stubborn, yeah.
Yeah, stubborn. Okay, باقي كانوا صح. Very nice. Okay, Hajar, would you like to do number 3?
Okay. He's boring or workaholic, but he is very organized.
Okay, Sana, number 4.
Okay. After he got divorced, things got worse and worse.
Okay. What about these last 2 words? How do you say them? Is it worse or is it a bit like an A sound? Worse.
Worse.
Worse. Worse. Work.
Yeah.
Do-
Where?
Yeah, فيها شوية it's a bit like were worse. تشبه صوت الwere. ممكن كيف مش زيها بالضبط لكن you know it's not صوتها ما يطلعش الأو العادية اللي موجودة في organized ولا في morning، مش نفس الصوت. worse and worse زي word، حتى word منهم word work worse worth you know these words. Okay, good. And number 5, Malak, can you do number 5?
Okay, don't forget to wear a uniform in the morning.
Right. Okay, Hajar, number 6.
How much is that gorgeous motorbike worth?
And the last word, can you say it again?
Worth.
Like worse and
worth.
الفكرة ديما ديما الأو R اللي تجيكم بعد W ديما خفها، حطوا فيها شوية إيه هيك شوية في التتبيلة. worth. أيوة خفيفة شوية. Nice. Okay, number 7. Sana, can you do number 7?
Okay. This is the worst homework in the world.
Right, the worst homework in the world. Okay, nice.
Well,
So this is the idea. قصة ال OR, it will sound different depending on where you put it, how it's placed in the sentence. All right, let's move to our next topic. So here we're going to talk a little bit about homes. Actually, we're going to talk a lot about homes, to be honest. There's lots of vocab which is related to homes. Some of it is not new. Some of it I think you already know, but I think there are a few words here which might be new. So let's talk about them. So our new home. So we're going to talk about moving house, details about homes, and so on. So now we're going to do a guessing exercise first. All right. Do you see all these words in this box?
Yes.
We want to divide them into 3 categories, into 3 groups. So group 1, homes and buildings. Group 2, parts of a home. And group 3, location. So when I say homes and buildings, this also means different types of homes or different types of houses. Buildings. Yeah, that's the idea. Part of homes or part of a home, parts of a home, I think it's clear what they want, and location is also clear. So if you're not really sure what this word means, my advice would just put it with group 1. It's very likely it's a type of building or a type of home. So let's start. So in a city center, this is already answered. اللي مجاوبينهم خلينا نحطهم, so we don't need to confuse ourselves. So in the city center is answered, an apartment block is answered, and a building, a balcony is also answered. Okay, in the country, what's this? Is it 1, 2, or 3? What do you think?
3 location.
Location.
Yeah, this one is kind of clear. Okay, good. A loft.
2.
I think
Part
2.
of a home.
2, part of a home. What kind of part is the loft? What do you think?
The upstairs.
Do you mean the part under the roof directly?
Yeah, I think.
Okay, let's just take your answer because we're going to check them anyway, so it doesn't matter if. Okay. What about in the suburbs?
Location.
Okay. What about a study?
A study is a part of a home.
Okay. What about in a quiet neighborhood, in a lively neighborhood, in a friendly neighborhood? What's this?
Location. Number 3.
Location.
Okay. What about a cottage?
1, home and building.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about in a residential area?
Location.
It's a location.
A garage?
Part of
Part
home.
of the house.
Part of home.
Yeah.
Okay. What about a detached house?
Home and
Number 1.
buildings.
Yes. Home
Okay.
building.
What about a roof?
Part of home.
Number 2.
Part of home.
Mhm. On the ground, first floor, top floor.
Part of a home.
Okay. What about a terraced house?
Home and buildings.
Okay. What about stairs?
Number 2. Part
Parts of home.
Part of home.
Okay, now let's zoom in on the new words or the possible new words. I'm just guessing that these might be new. What do these words mean? A terraced house, a detached house, and a loft.
Detached house is a single house. Is a separated house.
A separated house?
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds logical, I think. Okay. And the terraced house? What about a terrace? Because it's not written here, so you can't see it, right? Any guesses for a terraced house? This is not a terrorist house. That's a bit different. So we have terrorists. They also live in houses, terrorists, but this is a terraced house. No guesses? All right, don't worry. So we're gonna check all of them now in the summary. So of course this will help us a little bit. So let us go there on page. Which page is this? Let me just check. This is 39. 39. Okay. 39. 39. All righty. So let's take a look. Okay, so here we have some photos. Let's start with the photos. So, of course, this is the apartment block. Can you see the apartment block? So it's kind of clear, I think, an apartment block. So this is the whole building, and of course you will have a flat. And maybe your brother, the flat above, and your uncle, the flat above, and your other uncle, the flat above. This is in Libya, of course. But if it's in another country, then you'll have strangers. You won't know the neighbors. Anyways, a cottage. I think all of you know a cottage. This is a detached house, just like Malak said. It's a separate house. It's not attached. It's detached. I think you know the word attach. To attach something, like an email attachment, right? So you attach the file to the email and you send the email. This is an attachment. So attach is the opposite of detach. When you use it as an adjective, detached, it means separated. Just like Malak said, it's a separated house, single and separated. But a terraced house, can you see a terraced house? These houses are very common in England. It's like an apartment building, but not vertical, horizontal. You get the idea. All of the houses are next to each other.
The same.
Yeah, it's the same building, and there's only a little wall that separates you from the other house. And in the UK, the walls are not really
like
walls.
Here.
Sorry?
It's like what we used here, yeah?
I don't think so. I think in Libya, most houses are detached with a garden. I think many houses here in Libya.
No.
Yes, no.
No.
Really?
Especially here in Tripoli. No.
Yes, especially in the
Don't have gardens. Maybe now.
I think, for example, if we're talking, maybe because I live in Anzara, we're not used to.
Maybe new houses is like this.
If you go to the maybe Gurji or Ghot Sha'ar,
correct, yeah.
find like this
because
building.
I live in a town.
Yeah, and Drebi also, yes, and the other. Yeah. وين تاني حتى سيدي خليفة in that area.
سوق الجمعة.
Samansura, yeah. No, I've seen them, but I don't think most houses are like this. I think, especially if you move away from the center of the city, most are detached houses, don't you think? Ben Ashur, Highlanders, Noflin, and far away from the city. Janzur, for example, most of Anzara is, detached houses. They're not terraced house. But in the city center, I think you make a point, yeah. In the city center or near the city center, most houses are terraced houses because there isn't a lot of space, It's, so they need to build houses as close as possible. But the problem with the UK is the houses are really, really small and the walls are really thin.
Yeah.
So if you're noisy or if you have a lot of kids, your neighbor will complain sooner or later. So it can be a little hard, I think. Anyways, these are different types of homes and types of buildings. Also, you can say apartment block, or you can say apartment building, or you can say a block of flats. So you can say it any way you want. So there's more than one way to talk about عمارة. You can say apartment block, apartment building, block of flats. But all of them are okay. So loft is just what Hajar said. It's the top part. But a loft is always under the roof, directly under the roof of the house. So this is a loft. In some houses, they use the loft as a room, maybe a bedroom or something. But in many houses, they just keep it for storage. You know, they just put their extra toys, extra books, things they don't use. They keep them in the loft. Balcony, you know, balcony, a garage, stairs, roof, upstairs, downstairs. Okay, I think it's clear. Let's see if there's any other words. So of course we have locations. I don't think anything is new here. Okay, residential area. So a residential area, do we have a residential area in Tripoli? Can you think of residential neighborhoods or residential areas?
Yeah.
Like
Like what we said now.
Like
about
Drebi, like
Sha'al
Mansoura or
and-
Sha'al.
Yeah. And
Okay.
even
Yeah.
Dahra.
Yeah, that's
Dahra, I think Dahra is very, it's not very residential. It's full of shops, offices, you know, hotels,
No,
businesses.
yeah.
I don't think
I
it's
think
residential.
in the main street, but in the
Inside?
yeah, inside there is
There are some
Like,
houses, there are people who live, but I think it's, I don't know. When we say residential, it means very few shops or big markets or, so Mansoura, Drebi, I think maybe are better examples. There aren't a lot of offices, buildings, especially Drebi. I had a
Yeah.
friend who lives in Drebi inside, especially inside.
Yeah, I live in Kishlaf.
Yeah,
beside
Kishlaf,
the
yes, he
Tribute,
used to
so,
live near. I remember there were only, you know, small convenience shops if you wanted to buy phone credit or water or
Yeah.
something. But there aren't a lot of offices or, you know, big buildings and businesses. Most of it is just residential. Anyways, you get the idea what residential means. So it's an area where it's
Yeah.
mainly houses, mainly flats, not a lot of factories or big shops or that kind of thing. Suburbs, everybody knows what the suburb means, I think, right? So the suburb,
Yeah.
I think we can call Anzara a suburb of Tripoli because it's too
yeah.
far away
Yes.
from the center. So this is an example of a suburb.
I think even Tajura, yeah.
Tajura's, in the
Yeah.
past, they actually used
Yeah.
to consider it a separate town in the past.
خلة الفرجان.
Yes, Khalat Furjan is also, we can think of it as the suburb, the southern suburb of Siraj also, far away from the center. Siyahiyya, no, Siyahiyya, I think it's not too far away, but maybe Siraj and Siyahiyya aren't that far from each other. Anyways, you get the idea what suburb means. Lively, it's also clear. Interesting. If you say our neighborhood is a lively neighborhood, it means it's fun, it's interesting.
But we can take this areas as a suburb, like a residential area.
Most suburbs are residential, you're right.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. I don't know if all suburbs are residential, but I think most suburbs in Tripoli are the suburbs are, they were originally part of the countryside. They were mainly rural farms. I think this is how the suburbs were originally, but maybe this changed and they became residential. More people built their houses, so maybe this changed. Anyway, so I think the new words are clear. Okay, so this might cause a little confusion, so it's better to understand it here. It's easy, but we need, I think, to take a look. Now in Libya, what do we say if you live on let's say you live in a block of flats, right? You live in an apartment building. So what do we call number one? The one on the ground. What do we call it in Libya?
دور الأرضي.
دور الأرضي. So what we do in Libya, we're following the British system. You know, the British system does the same thing. They say ground floor, right? And the next one is دور أول، صح لا؟ لما نقول الدور الأول اللي هو اللي فوق الأرضي على طول. This is the British system. So we use the British system. But Americans don't do this. Americans call the ground floor, they call it first floor. And the first floor, they call it second floor. Do you get the idea?
Yeah.
So for us, we just use the same Libyan system for this book because it's the same. British and the Libyan is, you know, the same thing. Ground floor, first floor. But Americans don't do it in the same way. They do it slightly differently. So nothing new left to talk about. We can go back and we can do a bit of listening. So now we know all of these words which are related to houses. So my question for you now is, what are the 5 most important things to look for in a new home? Let's say you want to move house and you're looking for a few things that you need to have in your new home or new house. You can use some of the ideas here in the box, of course, but you can use also, you know, other things which you think are interesting or important to have in a house. So let's start with Malak. What do you think, Malak? Let's imagine you're going to move to another city or another country, or maybe you bought a new house or you want to buy a new house. What are the 5 most important things you look for in your new home?
Okay, a large kitchen and
Large kitchen is good. Okay.
yes, and 3 double bedrooms.
3 double bedrooms. Okay. So
Living room.
A living room. Okay.
Of course, electric central heating.
Central heating.
Garage.
A garage.
A front and a back garden.
A front and a back garden, or a backyard, front yard, you can say, correct?
3 bathrooms and a toilet.
3 bathrooms and a toilet. Okay.
Yes. What else?
Sorry?
I try to remember. Also, of course, I like a detached house.
So you want your house to be a detached house?
Yeah.
What about the neighborhood? What kind of neighborhood would you like to live in? A lively neighborhood, or maybe a residential neighborhood, the suburbs? Or would you like to live in the countryside? What about the location of your house?
Yes, and I like to live with the lively neighbor.
Lively neighborhood.
Lively, yes.
Okay.
And I like to live in the residential area.
Okay. So in a lively neighborhood in a residential area, do you think you can have both of them at the same time?
Yes, not necessary to live beside me and with a thin wall. We can do a lively neighbor.
But what does it
you
mean?
mean it is the
When we say lively neighborhood, what do you think we mean?
Maybe I can visit him not very far.
But
we
here
can visit each other.
Neighbor, and neighborhood are not the same word. Do you know what the difference is between neighbor and neighborhood? What is the difference, Malak? What do you think?
Neighbor is it means a person who lives beside me.
Correct.
Neighborhood. Somebody. It's the same meaning, I think. Neighborhood. A quiet neighborhood.
Neighborhood is the area. So
Okay.
the neighborhood is like your street and maybe the street next to you and the street behind you and maybe the streets near your area. This area together is called a neighborhood. So what's
Okay.
neighborhood in Arabic?
بالعربي ما نعرف.
Okay, so neighborhood اللي هو الحي اللي تسكني فيه.
Okay.
يعني مش المنطقة كاملة، مثلا الحي اللي هم نقولوا 10 أحياء المحيطين بجهتك. مثلا الزوز أو 3 كيلو اللي حوالي جنب حوشكم منطقتكم يعني هذا الحي.
Yeah.
So my question I asked you, can you live in a lively neighborhood if it's a residential area? What do you think? Can you have both of them together, or do you think you can't? I'm just wondering.
No, I can't.
Why not? Why can't you have a lively neighborhood?
Because in residential areas, it isn't maybe everything is far.
Good point. You mean the cafes, the supermarkets, the parks, the offices are far away, so this makes the area quiet, not lively.
Yes.
Maybe good point. Maybe you're right. Okay. So these are the things that Malak thinks are important in a new home. Do you excuse me? Do you agree, Sana? Do you agree with all the things, or do you have a different list of important things in a new home?
I don't think. I think it's what she described. It's very, very good, I think. And then not, I think we will not found in the city center because I like to live in the city center.
So the kind of house she's describing is maybe a little hard to find in the city center.
Yes.
Yes.
In the suburban, yes, but in the city center, no. You will not find like this house.
Yeah, you have a point, yes. But also, I think that the house she described is also, I think, a very expensive house to own or to rent. Imagine the home that she described. Imagine this in Europe. What do you think the rent of such a house will be?
It will maybe, I don't know how much money, but I think it's very, very expensive. Yes.
It's more than 2,000.
Dream, Sana, dream.
I know, dream, I know.
But it's an expensive dream.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But
yeah, I think more.
You shouldn't tell your husband that dream.
Yeah, don't tell him this is what you're dreaming of. Yeah, keep it a secret.
Yes.
All right. So, but yeah, if it's a dream home, I think it makes sense. But maybe if you're also in Libya, I think it might be hard to have a home like this in the city center. But it's not impossible, because in Libya, houses and homes are still much cheaper compared to Europe or North America. We still live in, I think, in very cheap homes.
But isn't cheap nowadays?
It's getting more expensive. It's getting more expensive, yes.
Yeah.
Especially land, estate.
I think Libya is more expensive.
It's more expensive because we don't rent in Libya. We build, we own. That's why it's expensive. But abroad you don't need to build or own. You can just rent per month. I mean, you can own, of course, if you want, but you don't have to. You can just rent a house for a year, for example. So if your rent is cheap, then why do you need to buy?
But now it's common for the
people to
the
rent.
guys. So yeah, it's common now.
It's becoming more
I know
common.
a lot.
You're
Yeah,
right.
I know a lot of people get married and rental the house
Mm,
because they don't have money to buy the house.
you're right.
And
Yeah, things are
yeah,
changing, especially
mm,
after the last few wars, and especially for
mm,
people who moved away from other
mm,
cities to Tripoli. Many of them, don't have the option to build, to buy land. I don't
mm,
know, it'll cost you maybe $500,000 to get a good size for a house. This is just the land without
mm.
without the building itself. So it'll need almost $1,000,000 just to get maybe a 2-story building, 2
Yes,
floors. It's too
and if
much.
you want, yeah, and if you want to buy a house in the city center like Dahra and like Ben Ashur,
It's
and
impossible.
even it's too expensive
Yeah,
nowadays.
yeah.
Mm.
I've heard of. I don't know if this is true, but I've heard of a house sold in Jraba. I think it was 80 million or something, some crazy, insane price.
Yes,
But it
especially
was
if
Yeah.
the main street or like
on the main
big,
street. The place was
yeah,
on the main street.
yeah,
But
that's
the
why, yeah.
price was just. I thought this was Monaco, not not Tripoli. I was like,
Wallahi,
what the hell? Why would anybody pay this? And there are people who
yeah,
pay this, and this is the strange
mm,
thing. Someone did buy it
maybe
actually.
not the normal people, maybe I don't know,
Criminals,
تجار, business men, not normal people.
criminal
Business war,
businessmen,
not men.
not businessmen, because this is
The business war, maybe.
yes, yeah, because it's it's strange. But so
Yes.
yeah, you do have a point. Things
Mhm.
are changing.
And I speak with another my colleague and tell me I will buy a flat in Tunisia. It's better than here, and I not expensive
Yeah,
like here.
he actually has a point. Yeah. It might be in some areas in Tunisia, they might be cheaper than, because now
Yeah.
Tripoli, everybody's in Tripoli. The other cities in
Mm.
Libya, nobody, they're empty. They're just on the map, but nobody lives there. Everybody's in Tripoli. So of
Yeah.
course, except Malak, she's not in Tripoli, but everyone else is in Tripoli.
Yeah.
Malak, you need to move here with us. So I think this is the problem with
Inshallah.
Libya.
I have a house there, but I can't live there.
Yeah, maybe in the future you'll move here. Yes.
Inshallah.
Okay, so this is what Sana thinks. Now let's see what do you think?
Because I think that's why we have faced a lot of a problem now. Or everything in Tripoli. No. If one want to do something or to do the do like information paper for information should come here in Tripoli and do this information, not from the what you get what I mean.
Yes, I get what you mean. Yeah,
Mm.
because the
This is the
services.
problem.
This is the
Mm.
problem. Yeah, the services in Tripoli are bad. So imagine the other
Yeah.
cities. It's even
Yeah.
worse. And that's why if you need to do any formal or official business documents, registration, these big important things, it's a lot easier to do it here in Tripoli. And sometimes you have no option but to come to Tripoli to do it. Even opportunities, work opportunities, business, life, prices, everything is here. And this is not a good thing. So I don't know how we can solve this problem. Who knows how this will change? Okay, Hajar, what do you think are the 5 most important things to look for in a new home? And you can give us different scenarios. You can talk about a dream home like Malak, or you can talk about a reasonable list of things that you look for, whether the house is here in Libya or anywhere else. What are the 5 important things for you?
I don't want to talk about my dream home, so keep it a dream. Okay, but maybe I need a garden,
Okay, a garden is
small one.
important. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In a quiet neighborhood,
All right.
quiet area,
Mm-hmm.
because I live in a quiet area, so I like the quiet.
Mm-hmm.
In a detached house.
Okay, so you want it to be separate, detached. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
In a residential area.
Okay, so you want a residential area. You don't want. Do you want it to be lively and fun, or do you prefer it to be quiet and residential, maybe?
No, quiet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's like I love my neighborhood here, so
You
it's a
want something
quiet.
similar.
Yeah, in the city center, but it's quiet. It's very quiet. So.
Can you have a quiet area near the city center?
No.
Yeah.
For my where I live now, it's near. It's not in the city center, but it's near to the city center.
Is it? Did you say Kishlav? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Is
Yes.
Kishlav near? I think it's quite far, right?
Yeah, but it's nowadays it's a city center. It's if you compare it with Anzara or something.
Really? I think Anzara is closer to the center than Kishlav.
No.
Because it takes me
Kishlav
maybe.
to maybe.
For me, it takes me
to-
10 minutes to get to, Furnage roundabout. Just 10 minutes. And if you're in Furnage
Yeah,
roundabout, you're in the near the university. You're not far away from, I think, from the city
Yeah.
center. But I get your point.
Even-
What you're saying.
Yes.
Same thing with Kishlav. 10 minutes, you're almost there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, because when cities get bigger, this is what the people say. They get used to the distance, so it becomes, everything feels closer, with cars, and so you have a point there, because it's a lot closer than Tajura or maybe Janzur or those areas, and even those areas, there are people who come daily and work in Tripoli. Would you believe it
Yes.
if I told you that I knew a doctor who used to work in hospital, and he used to come daily from Zliten and go back. And I was like, what? How? He said, no, I got used to it. He goes to Zliten, works in Tripoli, and goes back to Zliten in the same day.
Yeah.
I was like, wow,
I
that's
think-
crazy. That's insane. And for him,
Maybe
it's
for
normal.
nowadays about because it's a very crowded street. Maybe you you reach
Zliten
go
faster than go
faster
to
than
than Anzara or Kishlav.
yeah.
Yeah, you make a point. Yeah, you do have a point. So things are changing, I think.
I think it's difficult and to go every day to Zliten and come back.
Yeah, it's very difficult. Yeah. I told him, just stay and work in Zliten. Why are you crowding the hospital here? We've got enough doctors. So I was very honest with him. So he just laughed. But yeah, this is the problem, because he says there aren't any opportunities. And when I asked him, why don't you work in the hospital there? And the thing is, in other cities, there's always a need for professionals, doctors, engineers, lawyers, teachers. There's always not enough of them. I told him, why not go back? He said there aren't any opportunities, nobody to train us, not good enough salaries, not good enough positions. There are so many disadvantages. He says, I have to come here to Tripoli to train, to get better offers, better, private clinics. So there are many factors. So I think it's a problem That
Yes,
I
I
don't
think
know how we
also
can fix it. I don't think it can be fixed easily either.
fix it if the specialist here in Tripoli go in this in that area and work there
Mm.
and learn
And teach the
yeah,
doctors there.
teach, yes,
Yeah, but you know
even the
this.
engineering,
Yeah,
even the
in
engineering.
all fields. Yeah, engineering,
Yeah.
teaching, and everything. I think we need something. This is a very good suggestion.
Mm.
Or I remember when I went to Turkey, I talked to some medical students there. They told me what the government does, it offers almost 4 times the salary outside of Istanbul. So for example, in Istanbul, they will give you maybe 1,000 and something lira, but if you work in cities inside, it can reach up to 4,000 lira. And I told
I
them,
think
okay,
I think
does anybody want to go there? They said, no, we want to stay in Istanbul. For them, it's better to, with less money, to stay in Istanbul than get more money in other cities. So it's the same mentality.
I think it's a good idea. If
It is.
we'll apply here, we will the specialists go, because here in Libya always thinking about money, not stop thinking about the place. Maybe.
Yeah, but I think it will cause a bit of a social problem, because in Libya we're very tribal. For example, let's say an engineer gets a very good offer in, I don't know, in any city in Libya, Slita, Darhuna, Musrata, any city, okay? And how do you think this man's family will feel? I don't think they'll feel very happy, especially his wife. Yeah, his wife is going to make it feel like
No,
hell.
not maybe if you take with him his family, and we will. It's okay.
Yeah, that's my point. If he takes his family with him to the other city, the family won't be happy. They won't like it, because his wife will be separated from her family who live in the other city. Oh, I miss my father. I miss my mother. Oh, my sister. Oh, my
No, but
friend.
we will do neighbor there. No problem.
Make new neighbors.
Yeah.
I don't think Libyans are very open people. We don't get along very well with people from other cities, I think, except for Tripoli, because Tripoli, everybody's in Tripoli, so we're kind of used to it.
And
But in other cities,
even
I
if
don't
you
think so.
live in the like Zliten or Musrata, and or we will can come in Tripoli in any time. It's not like from country to another
Correct.
country.
You're right. You can come anytime.
This
Yeah.
is,
But I think this is easier if the person is single. If the person is single, it's easier. But with a family, I think it's a bit hard, because I don't know a lot of families who do this, who work in another city because the salary is better. Most of them don't.
The same.
Yeah, most of them just stay.
Maybe less. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so let's Hajar, tell us a little bit about your you didn't finish your non-dream home. You said, I remember you said quiet, residential, detached, small garden. Any other things?
And a garage. It's a very important thing.
And a garage too. Yeah, so you want a garage, okay. Okay, these are good things to have in a house. All right. So this is the question. They're just asking you what kind of houses or homes you would like to have. Now, I want you to read about these 3 places to rent in Bristol, England. Okay. So there are 3 places. We have this place, Bishopston. So this is the first place, Redland, and Hotwells. So these are 3 places to rent. All right. So I'm going to let you read about all 3 of these 3 homes or these 3 places. And then after that, I want you to tell me which one would you like to live in. All right. So let's start with the first place. So this is called Bishopston. It's a spacious terraced house in a friendly neighborhood. So take a second, take a minute or 2, just read this. When you're done, just tell me so I can scroll down, okay?
If you move to another paragraph.
Sure, let's go. Let's see if we can see both of them at the same time. No, we can't. Okay.
For me, I finished the first paragraph.
Okay.
Don't know about Malak.
This is the second. Can you see the second? Haja?
Yeah.
Not
No.
whole.
No?
Yes.
No.
This is the first. We finished
Yeah.
the first. This is the second.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. No. Okay.
Have you finished reading about the large detached house in a quiet residential area? Yeah?
Yeah.
All
Yes.
right. Okay. Now the
Yeah.
last place. Okay. Everyone done?
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right. Let's see your opinions. Where would you like to live? I can already guess all of you want to live in Redland,
Yeah.
but I'm just going to, but
Yes,
I want to
which
see
I
why.
will tell you, correct or not.
No. For
Yeah.
me,
You get-
for a small family, I want to choose Hot Wheels.
Okay, Hot Wheels. But my guess, Sana, was that
Yeah.
all of you will choose Redland. But okay, Hajar
Yeah.
surprised us. She
No,
said
big
for
family,
me, no.
yeah.
For me, no.
for you would like the also Hot Wheels, Hajar, Sana.
Yes, Hot Wheels,
But are you thinking of yourself as a single woman or with a family? Because it's a bit different. What are you?
maybe because no, with the family, because it's my family. It's small nowadays because most of my family is married. That's
So,
why maybe.
so you got rid of them. That's a good
Yes.
thing. Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful view.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
yeah. That's why I chose this one.
The view is beautiful. I
But-
agree with you. Okay, but what about the
Also, there's,
size? Actually, even the size is quite big.
It's-
It says
it's
spacious
good.
flat.
Yeah.
It's a big flat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to ask you, in the England, the heat, central heating by gas.
Gas.
By gas.
Most houses it's gas. Yes.
Yeah,
Because
it's
gas
better
is cheaper.
than electricity. Yes.
It's not
Better
it's,
than electricity.
I don't think it's if it's better or not. It's
cheaper.
about cheaper. Electricity
Yes,
in the UK
I
is
think-
very expensive. So
Yeah,
gas is cheaper when they use gas heating for the whole house and the water. It's kind of cheaper, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so Malak, which one would you like to live in? Which house?
I think Redland.
The large
Redland.
detached house, Redland?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Yeah, you mentioned you want a big house here. You did.
Yeah.
Okay. Ihab, are you there? Are you with us? Can you hear us? Ihab is not thinking of houses now, I think. He's still thinking.
I
Okay.
think I think you should ask him about dream house.
His dream house.
Sorry, have.
And what about you,
I think
Doctor?
Yeah.
most of men didn't think about dream house.
Yeah, we don't care. We
Yes,
think about
car
dream wife,
house,
maybe.
job
Dream
Yeah.
wife,
house,
maybe.
job.
But and dream
Yeah.
job, dream car, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But dream
Because
house, we don't
they
care.
don't stay in the house, so
Yeah, I think as long as the bed is comfortable, the rest is not very important. For me, I think I think the cheapest one is the best. Maybe this one is okay, because this way I can spend my money on a motorbike, on maybe a car or something else. But to be honest, I don't think there's any difference. But I do know if we're talking about the UK, apartment buildings like this, like Hotwells, and a terraced house are better than a detached house, because a detached house in the UK, it's very expensive. Not only the rent, but also the bills, because it'll be big. It'll be hard for the house to become warm. You'll need more energy. Maybe it's older, so you need more fixing. You get the idea. So if you're thinking of the cost,
Yeah.
if someone is thinking of the cost, it's not a very good investment to live in a house like this. But if we're thinking with our Libyan maybe mentality, of course the big one is better, because our families are big. This way you can have more space for if you have a lot of kids or brothers and sisters, or if you have maybe a married brother who can live, or a married sister who can live above or something, if we're thinking like Libyans. But otherwise, maybe, in my opinion, if I had to choose, I will also choose Hotwells, because in apartment buildings or apartment blocks, usually there are lots of facilities. So there's security, there's a garage area, usually there's maybe a swimming pool. If it's a very good, apartment block. In Brazil, I lived for a while in a building like this. They had lots of facilities. They had a gym, they had a swimming pool, they had, so many things. So sometimes if you're living abroad, maybe a flat is better. I don't know. But if you're rich, it doesn't make a difference. Even the middle one is okay. That's what I think. But now let's listen to Tim and Joe. So we're going to listen to a couple, Tim and Joe, and they're also wondering which place to stay in. So they don't know yet. They haven't decided where to live. We're going to hear them discussing which place they want to live in. So let's listen to their conversation, and after that, we'll see where they go.
Okay, let's start with the first place we saw. What did you think of the terraced house in Bishopston?
Yeah, I thought it was nice. It seems slightly bigger than where we live now.
No, I think it's the same size as our house. It just seemed bigger because it didn't have any furniture in it.
Yes, you're probably right. I thought the back garden was lovely and it had a new kitchen.
Yes, I like the kitchen too. And it's the least expensive place we've seen so far.
Yes, that's true.
Okay, so what about the detached house in Redland?
Well, it's one of the oldest houses we've looked at, and I like old houses. They've got a lot of character. It's got more space than the other two places.
Yeah, and it's got a garage, which is useful. But it's quite a long way from the station, which might be a problem.
Yes, you could be right. And it's a little further away from the city centre than we want it to be.
Okay, and what did you think of the flat in Hotwells?
Well, it's not as big as the other two places.
Yes, that's true, but it is a flat, not a house. Actually, it was a lot more spacious than I'd expected.
Yes, it was, wasn't it? I think that's because of those enormous windows.
Yes, I suppose so. It was different from anything else we've seen.
And it had the most amazing view, all the way down the river.
Yes, that was fantastic, wasn't it?
But it's got the worst kitchen I've ever seen. The cupboards were falling off the wall. And it hasn't got a garden.
So that's a no then?
Yes, I think so. It's just not right for us.
Okay, so what about the other two places? Do you want to go and see either of them again?
Well, the house in Redland was nice, but the back garden was far smaller than I'd expected, you know, for a detached house. It's as small as the one we've got now.
And it was much noisier than the other two. It's on a very busy road.
Yes, that's true.
That might be a problem, especially at night.
Right. So you thought the first place we saw was better?
You mean the house in Bishopston? Yes, I think so. It's very similar to where we live now, so all our furniture will fit in okay.
And it's a bit less expensive than the Redland house.
Okay, let's go back and see it again tomorrow. Then we can decide.
Right. I'll give the estate agent a ring. Have you got their number?
Okay, so they had a very, I think, detailed discussion. They tried to see all the advantages, all the disadvantages of each house. First of all, what did they decide, or where do you think they're gonna live?
The first
I
house.
think
The first one.
first one.
Okay, so the Bishopston terraced house in Bishopston. Okay, but why? Why did they choose this place? Why didn't
Because
they?
it's less expensive.
Okay, it's less expensive, or the least expensive, because it's
Yeah.
cheaper. It's cheaper than the other two, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I think it's not far away from the city center. It's near, I think.
Okay, yeah, because when they talked about the Redland, what did they say about the location? They mentioned something about the
It's
location.
far away from the city center.
It's far away from the
Yeah.
city center and the station.
That's true. What else did they mention about
Also,
this house?
Amazing
it's
view.
Which one has the amazing view? This one, the terraced house?
no, the third one.
Yeah, the
Third
third
one.
one, the flat in Hot Wells. This one
No,
had
Hot
the
Wells.
amazing view, right?
Yeah.
View, yes. But I think they said the worst of the kitchen. The worst kitchen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She didn't like the kitchen. She said it's the worst
Mm.
kitchen she's ever seen.
And
Correct.
even there is no garden in this flat.
Yeah, that's another
Yeah.
problem. Flats usually don't have gardens.
And about the first
Not
house,
big. Not big.
Smaller.
it's like the same house where they
They already
live
live in.
now.
Mm.
Yeah, so their furniture is fit with the house.
Yeah, because in terraced houses, especially in the UK, you have to remember that the doors are very small. So if you have a very fat sofa, you know, an American style sofa, the very big ones, it won't fit from the door. We can't get it in the house. So this is another problem in the UK. So you need smaller furniture.
And have a
noisy.
big
Much noisy.
garden, back garden.
Yeah, the
It's bigger
backyard.
than what they
expected, right? She mentioned the back garden was good. Which one was noisy,
also
Malak?
the new kitchen. So
Maybe this. Oh no.
Yeah.
Are you sure? Is this the one that's noisy? Is it the terraced
I
house?
think it's the
Or is it the
second
attached house? The
Yes,
detached house?
no.
The
Not
third one?
detached house.
The noisy one was actually the detached
detached.
house. Because look at it, it's on the main
Yeah,
road. It's on the street. Can you see the street?
Yeah, it's a main road. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the noisy one. And what else did they mention about the terraced house? I think they mentioned, who said the kitchen? Because they talked about the kitchen, right?
Yeah, I think they said that there is a new kitchen. Yeah.
Exactly.
New kitchen and
In the terraced house. Right. Okay. So I think they make sense. They have a good point. All right. Now here we have a few sentences. True, false. Is it true, false? No, not true, false. It's Bishopston. So you have to choose. Let me just show you in both page display this way. If I show you both pages together, it's better. All right, now this way, I think it's a little easier. Okay, so let me explain the question. All you need to do is just put B for Bishopston, R for Redland, or H for Hot Wells, right? So each sentence It's about one of the three houses, one of the three places. It's a bit of a memory test, a memory question, that's all. So number one, it says, it seems slightly bigger than where we live now. So this is when the couple were talking about the terraced house, of course, Bishopston. What about number two, when they said, it's the least expensive place we've seen so far? Which place was this?
Bishopston.
And yeah,
Yeah, the terraced house in Bishopston, B.
Yeah.
All right. What about number three, when they said it's one of the oldest houses we've looked at?
detached house.
Redland.
About detached.
Redland.
Yeah.
The detached house in Redland, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
The detached house, okay, so Redland. It's a little further away from the city center. Which house was this? It's a little further away from.
Also under
Yes,
Redland.
detached house.
Redland.
Also, the detached house in Redland, okay. It was a lot more spacious than I'd expected. Which one were they talking about?
Maybe about the Bishopston.
Also, maybe Bishopston, the terraced house. Also,
Bishopston, yeah. About the garden, I think.
What do you think, Sana?
Don't know.
I don't.
Okay, so this one we're not sure. We'll have to listen again to check. It had the most amazing view.
Of
The
course,
last
about,
one.
The last
flat.
one, the flat
Yeah,
in
flat.
Hot Wells, the flat in Hot Wells.
Okay.
All right, okay. It's got the worst kitchen I've ever seen.
Also on Hot Wells.
Also the flat in Hot Wells.
Yeah.
The back garden was far smaller than I'd expected.
About Redland.
About the detached
Because
house, you
it's
mean?
a bigger house,
Mhm.
but
So she was expecting a big garden, but it wasn't big.
yeah,
Mhm.
but it wasn't big.
It was much noisier than the other two.
Yes, detached house.
The detached house
Detached,
also.
yeah, Redland.
All right, okay. The first place we saw was better. Which place was the first one?
Yes, B.
The terraced house in Bishopston, B.
Yes, B.
It's a bit less expensive than the Redland house.
Yes, the first house and the third house, B.
Is it B?
B.
Yes, B.
What do you think, Haji? Is it B?
Was expensive.
A bit less expensive.
No,
Yeah,
maybe.
a bit less. Hot Wells.
Maybe
No,
Hot
I
Well?
think of that. Yeah, maybe. Hot
The
Well,
flat, maybe the flat in Hot Wells?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's confirm our answers. Let's listen one last time and find out.
Track 42.
OK, let's start with the first place we saw. What did you think of the terraced house in Bishopston?
Yeah, I thought it was nice. It seems slightly bigger than where we live now.
No, I think it's the same size as our house. It just seemed bigger because it didn't have any furniture in it.
Yes, you're probably right. I thought the back garden was lovely and it had a new kitchen.
Yes, I like the kitchen too. And it's the least expensive place we've seen so far.
Yes, that's true.
OK, so what about the detached house in Redland?
Well, it's one of the oldest houses we've looked at, and I like old houses. They've got a lot of character. It's got more space than the other two places.
Yeah, and it's got a garage, which is useful. But it's quite a long way from the station, which might be a problem.
Yes, you could be right. And it's a little further away from the city centre than we want it to be.
OK, and what did you think of the flat in Hot Wells?
Well, it's not as big as the other two places.
Yes, that's true, but it is a flat, not a house. Actually, it was a lot more spacious than I'd expected.
Yes, it was, wasn't it? I think that's because of those enormous windows.
Yes, I suppose so. It was different from anything else we've seen.
And it had the most amazing view, you know, all the way down the river.
Yes, that was fantastic, wasn't it?
But it's got the worst kitchen I've ever seen. The cupboards were falling off the wall. And it hasn't got a garden.
So that's a no then.
Yes, I think so. It's just not right for us.
OK, so what about the other two places? Do you want to go and see either of them again?
Well, the house in Redland was nice, but the back garden was far smaller than I'd expected, you know, for a detached house. It's as small as the one we've got now.
And it was much noisier than the other two. It's on a very busy road.
Yes, that's true.
That might be a problem, especially at night.
Right. So you thought the first place we saw was better?
You mean the house in Bishopston? Yes, I think so. It's very similar to where we live now, so all our furniture will fit in OK.
And it's a bit less expensive than the Redland house.
OK, let's go back and see it again tomorrow. Then we can decide.
Right. I'll give the estate agent a ring. Have you got their number?
Okay. All of them were correct, except number 5. And what about number 11?
5.
Which one was it?
Number 11.
Bishops.
B.
Bishop.
Mhm.
Okay.
Number 5. H.
5
is
H, yes.
Yes,
about the flat.
correct. It's the flat, H.
Mm.
That's right. Okay, so this was a little introduction into different houses and how to talk about houses and homes. So in our next lesson, hopefully, we'll talk in more detail about comparisons. So this lesson is related to, of course, related to comparatives, superlatives, you know, the ER, EST, all the stuff you studied in elementary and pre-intermediate. But there are also a few additions. This is what we want to focus on. I think the additions. It's the same size as. So here you're talking about equal places or equal sizes, not as big as, different from, as small as, similar to. So there are many different ways, not just comparatives and superlatives. So this will be our focus in our next lesson. And we will also use them to do number 8. 8 is a very interesting exercise because it's a paraphrasing exercise also. So they want you to rewrite these sentences using the words you have in the brackets. So for example, I'm not as organized as her. You can say she's more organized than me, for example. This one is kind of easy, but the other ones, it can be a little tricky. You need to pay attention. So we'll do this hopefully in our next lesson. All right, so thank you for your time. That's all
Thanks
for
a lot.
tonight. You're welcome.
Good
And
Thank
night.
you.
we'll meet again on Monday.
Good night.
Assalamu
Inshallah.
alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Bye-bye. Have a good night.
Yeah.
عمر شيك خلاص